Regrettably, I am aware that a significant number of you are of the opinion that the cryptocurrency industry is engulfed in its very own bubble, and you could not be more wrong. There are a multitude of events that are occurring outside of the cryptocurrency market that will have an impact on the future price of all digital assets. Recently, I demonstrated to you all how the Federal Reserve has a significant impact on the price of XRP, as well as the price of Bitcoin and every other cryptocurrency. However, there is a lot going on with global trade as well, which will surely have enormous repercussions for the entire stock market, the Treasury, the price of gold, XRP, Bitcoin, and a great deal of other things. The reason we are seeing what is likely to be a much more severe economic slowdown than what we saw in 2008 for the housing bubble and what we saw in 2017 is because we are already experiencing what we are going to begin talking about in the video that we are providing today. When it came to XRP experiencing its largest ever correction, which was when it went from being worth more than $3 per coin to being a price that is roughly equivalent to where it is right now. In addition, it is highly probable that we will be confronted with yet another correction of this nature very soon, which I am aware that most of you are not very well prepared for. I'm going to get you guys ready, but before we do that, we need to get a better understanding of the framework in which this is going to take place. In addition, none other than George Gammon is going to walk you through all of the dynamics that are going to be involved in this situation. Therefore, pay close attention, click the like button so that everyone can see it. And let's get started with this. Here in the United States of America, we have some extra stuff. In any case, that is not something that makes a lot of sense because what we need to understand is that everything that we are exporting is a surplus. Okay, so that is the situation. Another way of putting it is that the demand for that particular item in the United States of America is insufficient. This is a specific example that I will tell you. We ship a significant amount of food overseas. To simplify things, let's just say corn, poultry, and chicken. I am not aware of anyone who would suggest that the United States of America can consume more food than they presently do. The way I see it, they consume plenty of it. Therefore, if we did not have these consumers, let's say in China, who were purchasing our chicken and corn, would it be possible for us to sell that directly into the United States at the exact same price? It is not possible for us to get rid of it, but in order to do so, we would need to lower the price and cut our profits. Does lowering the price have an effect on the nominal gross domestic product? Brings things to a halt. Of course, that is not all. Consider the situation from the other side of the coin, shall we? While the United States does export a significant amount of goods, we are also a major importer of goods. A great deal more, which is the reason why we are experiencing such enormous trade deficits. All of this economic activity is reducing, and if Germany is going into recession and China is going into depression, then everything is going downhill. In light of this, it is highly likely that a great number of organizations will fail to meet their financial obligations. Many of those organizations are suppliers of products, namely the kinds of goods that we, the people living in the United States, buy and use. I am not suggesting that we will be in a Mad Max-like situation here in the United States if the economies of Germany, China, and Japan continue to deteriorate and more of their enterprises fail. It is obvious that New York is an extreme example, and I am not claiming that we will be in such a situation. Even though it will occur at a much lesser degree, the con step will still be taking place. The statement is accurate if we have less things available for us to purchase in the United States. Even if prices might go up significantly, there will be a noticeable slowdown in economic activity. Please, for the love of God, take a glance at the SP 500. That is all that is required of you. Take a look at the rate of unemployment in the United States. At this point in time, it is extremely unlikely that we will enter a recession. For heaven's sake, the economy is doing exceptionally well. Okay, that's all right. Consider the ballot point. Let's go ahead and display a chart of the Nikkei, which is the stock market in Japan. It is currently at all-time highs. Moreover, let's take a look at the unemployment rate, which is below 3%. What's more, they are actually experiencing a recession, and that's not all. The stock market in Germany has reached all-time highs, so let's have a look at it. Consider the stock market in the United Kingdom, which has reached all-time highs. Let's have a look at the unemployment rate in Germany, which has been on the rise recently, but is still quite low when compared to other countries. And the unemployment rate in the United Kingdom is likewise extremely low. Furthermore, the stock markets of each of these economies are currently at all-time highs. At the same time that they are all officially experiencing a recession, they all have extraordinarily low jobless rates. Therefore, I do not believe that to be a sound argument. It is difficult to imagine the United States of America avoiding an economic recession, let alone our economy operating at full capacity. In conclusion, if we take a look at what is occurring in countries other than the United States, we can say that it is a worldwide recession. This is a very straightforward way of putting it. To put it simply, let's not sugarcoat things. And there is a very small chance that the United States of America will prevent that from happening. It is the second step. We are aware that the global economy is very interrelated, but what about the relationship between the global economy and the banks? Remember that we have banks in China, Germany, Japan, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom, and all of these countries have banks that are connected to one another, much like the economies. In point of fact, I would say that they are perhaps much more tied to each other. Bear in mind that the great financial crisis occurred in the year 2008. However, what did the letter G represent? You are all aware of this. The global financial crisis is now underway. It was not a crisis due to the economy. A worldwide economic crisis was taking place. But why is that? Just because I left. It is not to be confused with an economic boom, rather. It is to refer to the boom that our financial system is experiencing. Why are things basically blowing up? The reason for this is the collapse of the real estate market. The collapse of the real estate market has an effect on the banks in the United States, which in turn has an effect on the banks in the United Kingdom, Germany, China, and Japan. If I may put it another way, the banks that are part of the Eurodollar system are responsible for turning a real estate crisis into a global financial crisis that has occurred. And I would argue that the forces that were at play within the monetary system in 2008 are even more intense than they were in the present day. As the third step, we need to ask ourselves, what is different about today than it was in 2008? In order to assess whether or not the year 2024 could be worse than 2008. Alternately, perhaps we ought to go back even further to the year 2007, for example. This is the thing that I am referring to. It is my belief that you are now aware of the significance of Treasuries to the international monetary system. In point of fact, I believe that we could even go so far as to state that they are not merely essential, rather they are obligatory in every way. In essence, they are the oil that is found in an engine. In the event that you remove that oil, the engine is going to become unresponsive. Things are going to get cold. It is not going to be successful. And therefore, we have Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C, and it is imperative that we keep in mind, because these financial institutions could be situated in any part of the world. There is no actual significance to it. Essentially, they're all components of one highly interconnected network. Consequently, Bank A might be located in China, Bank B might be in Singapore, Bank C might be in the Bahamas or the Cayman Islands, or even in the United States of America. On the other hand, these vehicles all consume the same oil because they are all connected to the same network and the same system. Okay, let's pretend for a second that there is a recession going on all over the world. That is your default scenario. What exactly is going to take place with regard to the danger that is there inside the financial system? That is going to be increased. In such situation, what kinds of things are going to take place with regard to the demand for the collateral? Alternatively put, what is the demand for the treasuries? The price of that is also going to go up. Before the global financial crisis, however, what was the typical reaction method that the central banks utilized? In other words, I am referring to the recession that we experienced in the early 1990s, which was the recession that occurred during the dot-com bust. The Federal Reserve did what? Basically nothing else than drop rates, to be honest. When it came to going out into the market and purchasing treasuries through the creation of bank reserves, sometimes known as quantitative easing, QE, they had not yet included that one of their tools in their toolbox. But at this point, it is evident that this is their default. Therefore, anytime we experience a minor setback, they immediately turn to the QE process. And this is the reason why we have witnessed Q1, 2, 3,